Hello, welcome to today's Silver Log. It is Tuesday, the 19th of April, 2011. Hope everyone's doing magnificent. And there's a new microphone, so let me know about the sound. I've done a few testing. I think it's going to be good to go. I hope so, anyway. All right, let's get started. Gold today making it up to 1500. It'll be close if it did. Maybe it was a little above it, a little below it, but it pretty much was there. And that's the target towards that inverted head and shoulders pattern I was talking about a few weeks ago, or about a week ago or so. So I made it up towards that level, an area where you want to see if there's going to be any resistance. Just because that's where the inverted head and shoulders pattern is doesn't mean that's where it tops. Just that more often than not, it does it there than maybe over another random place or another random area of numbers. If if it retraces, that's fine. The successful thing is to make sure that it keeps the uptrend of higher lows and float. Because if it makes the higher lows in play, or if it can correct through time for a few days, it makes it easier to break through the higher levels. Silver today breaking the 44 barrier. Another new dollar gain before. You go from 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Well, I'm not going to keep doing it. Basically, it's at some point you're gonna have to change it to be like, okay, I'm sick of it just being a dollar gain, $2 gain, $5 gain, because when we were breaking out past 20, a dollar gain meant 5%. Now a dollar gain means a little over 2%. At 50, it will mean 2%, and at 100, it'll be a percent. So as time goes on, at some point it'll get switched to the fives, and I think once you get close to 50, it's going to be close. As far as the silver priced in gold, which is the silver to gold ratio, the opposite of the gold to silver ratio. When I started doing it, it was around 750. So it's gone up about 160. That's over 20%. And priced in gold, that is silver outperforming gold. And I think that was to be expected anyway. At least I was expecting it based on its normal volatility and its fundamentals, really, for the where it should be. As far as the hourly chart, that's not the one that I was looking for. This is the one that I'm looking for. Silver's hanging in there fairly well. Now, when you have a situation where you can correct through time, which occurred in here, and then you start to break out, you're not up too much. Not yet. In fact, it could very easily push off from here. The reason why is because you're only up about a percent from your last high. When you make new highs after consolidation, it's not usually just 1%. It's within silver 3, 4, 5% at least. Well, at least three. At least around three. If not, if you only have a percent gain, 1.5, and it ends up breaking below the support, you have to watch out for this to be a failed move. But most of the time, it's going to make that 3, 4% move. Then it will that of make a failed move, especially within this current uptrend that's been extremely resilient thus far. The 43.25 level worked out exceptionally well. I couldn't have asked it. I couldn't ask to see it work out any better. When it comes up Sunday night, it makes a pretty much perfect hit, stays within that level for a few hours, and has been resistance appears here close. It was much above it though. Hit here, and then you finally broke through this resistance point. Technical analysis. That means either you go long if you play based on this type of strategy on the breakout, or as it's starting to consolidate the play, maybe you want to move down to this 1-day moving average, start to make a pattern of higher highs, higher lows, or break from it. There's another possibility. There's been a few tests within the 1-day moving average, which is the blue line. It's an interesting line. It's blue. Well, the way that these things play out is interesting, because when you start this, you see this is in a downtrend, and it's supposed to be resistance here, and it pretty much was, with a nice pierce above. So that gives it a little bit of optimism. Still not much as it's breaking down. Back down to 5 support. Now, when you go from a hit here, not much resistance, it increases the chances it goes below here, but it didn't happen. It stayed within the 5 forever, it seemed. Then throughout time, the market corrects through time, and that's what happens with the 1. This is now moving towards an area where it's support, and it has some lift-off support in here. And in here, it has another test here. This is test one of the rising one, test two, and test three. The next test will be the fourth test of the rising one-day moving average. Breaking the one-day moving average brings us to the five-day moving average. This test in here, the last test we had was the second test of this current rising five. So if you think the third test always fails, and some people think it's the fourth, well, the third test would hit here. And if you think the fourth test always fails and the third hits, then the play would be easier. Breaking through the one, going to the five, and because this is going to hit, you're going to come back higher. And we'll see. That's not always the way it works, and I definitely wouldn't count on that to be the best probability chance. As far as this trend line is concerned, I don't know if I went through this or not. This is like my third time doing it, trying to get the sound right. So if I did this already at the start, I'm just going to say it again. I don't think I did, though. No, I didn't. We're in the middle part of this range. Therefore, it's not overbought, in my opinion, until we can at least come up to this trend line. And we could easily come down to here to find support as well. And maybe the trend line should look something like, I think it should be a little bit different, just because I want it to connect this peak in here. So anywhere in between this area, it's pretty much, no matter what, it's the same area anyway. And because of this, it shows me if we stay in any type of range like this, it's indecision more than anything within an already upward trend, which is pretty strong overall. As far as the daily is concerned, that same trend line thing is exact same in here. This was the fifth straight up day, by the way. 5 up days in a row. That also means that we had 2 down days before that after we already had an 8 up day streak in a row. So if 5 days is up too much, it wasn't before. But it's also 13 wins out of 15. And around 60% of the time, it's an up day since the bottom. That's not precedented with stocks. So, I don't know. As long as the trend says it wants to go higher, it wants to go higher. Another trend line that's pretty cool is this. And this gives me reason for concern for the shorts. And that is, you have this trend line here that connects this peak. So we have another hit here. But 3 straight days with closes to the top part of it. It can't keep doing that. It's either got to do one of 3 things. It's either got to correct through time, correct through price, or it's got to explode to the next level. I don't really see it continuing just small gains. But hey, you never know. The message of the market can say it's possible. And if it happens, it happens. Alright, now let's move this on to, is there anything else about this that I want to state out? It's in a big uptrend as far as resistance is concerned. Well, we got this level here, and well, that's too long away for now. But a healthy uptrend to say the least. Weekly chart, monthly chart. This goes back to 1968. It's gonna have that smiley face to it. There we go. You know, it wasn't that long ago when this 50 seemed pretty far away, especially on the linear charts. Now, it's getting close. It's now at the point where if this tops now, then it will be a pierce below 50. Now, some will say, well, this doesn't mean much because of inflation. And that's good to know because, as I stated in the previous video last weekend, if all you know about chart or about your silver investment are the 3 things. 1, how silver bullion, like how it looks, how you buy it, that type of basics. But 2, technical analysis within charting as well as inflation. You would know that it's going to hit this level up towards here. You knew this a long time ago. It's happening. It's going to hit. Whether it hits this month, next month, it does look like it's going to happen soon. If you think it looks like it's up too much, people have been saying that now for a while, and it hasn't really had any pullbacks on this chart. None. And I've been calculating the moves from 1979 to before, and I'll do it again. It's looking very similar when you compare it to this level in here. If you look at the move from this bottom here, That was like silver going from 19 to 50 before. I think, yeah, yeah. And therefore, I mean, people will be saying, "Oh, this is up too much," and it wasn't up too much. When it is actually up too much, it will top. And if you're picking tops, trying to short, you'll be right the last, but you'll be wrong every time before. As far as trend lines are concerned, there's really only one left on here for resistance to be taken out. And I was jokingly talking about this one at the start of the week yesterday. I mean, I don't expect that to be taken out. Come on. Well, you never know, but 2.5 million, that's a little too far. Now, this trend line here has been violated. It's been taken out big time. Maybe we might come back and find support at it, but there's no signs of it right now. And the one trend line left to be taken out is this one. There's no dates on here. If you've seen my charts, you should know by now that this is 1980. And this is the breakout period in 2000. This is the 2008 high and the 2008 low. And this trend line is the only one left on this chart as resistance uptrends. That's huge. And this is logarithmic. When you can break uptrend lines on a logarithmic chart, that really shows strength because it shows strength in comparison to its previous moves. Now, within when this happens, last time was pretty fast. It doesn't always repeat itself. It can take months, it can take weeks, days, or years. But we're now at the point where a sudden shock can happen at any point. It wasn't going to happen here. It wasn't. It wasn't going to happen back here because the charts didn't elaborate to happen. But now it does because it's been in a resilient uptrend. And if volatility brings it higher, then it's gonna be a roller coaster after that. If you're looking for that safe ride, I don't know what to say. And I can't find an alternative that I think is safe right now. That really doesn't have much of a roller coaster ride. I think when it all gets said and done, that when you look at prices and inflation, that within silver you will actually have deflation or the prices will be lower. I'm noticing here that gas prices are close to all-time highs. Yet priced in silver, we're at levels not seen since down in here. Priced in silver. So I find that fairly interesting to say the least. That gas prices are cheaper in silver. Now gold, I'm thinking that's going to be the insurance play. For the most part, prices should remain around the same. It all depends on the product and service. And of course the timing of when you buy and sell. And then in dollars, it's definitely inflation. Anyway, thank you for watching today's video on silver, technical analysis, and all that fun mumbo jumbo. Take care.